Hey guys, we're going through and we are going to today be attempting to go through and grab a celestial helmet. So as always, we're going to start from portal plane, go backwards into temple, or run forwards if you want to turn around for that. Additionally, I hope that I've gone through and I have fixed some of the issues with the microphone. I realized that the noise gate that I had set was a bit too aggressive. Come here, talk to the celestial gatekeeper, tell you're ready to go, and as before, go and talk with celestial smithy. The one that we're going to be wanting is the Celestial Helm. Immunity, level 6 spells, lots of miscellaneous immunities. 10 concentration, 5 universal, and it has a couple of resist, elemental resist as well. For this, we're going to need a golden helm, Gorg skull, treacherous helm, and a black cap. Alright, so go through. In order to find these, the easiest one to get, depending on how you want to look at it, is going to be the black cap. So the black cap is dropped in the plane of Melamine, and which is in Poe. So go back to Portal Plane, go over to Poe or Plane of Elderkind, because we're all lazy. We like to go through and shorten and abbreviate everything that we can. So yeah, go to the middle portal and make sure you have a weapon out. If you notice that I'm going through and equipping and unequipping this rapier, it's because this rapier goes through and it sucks 10 HP, 10 XP per, I want to say 60 seconds. Not super important, just in case anyone was curious and wondering what. Right here, this first one up in the top left, zoom in a bit, is the plane of Melamine. Plane of Mel, that's what I always call it. And it loaded so fast I couldn't even see what it was. You come in here, there's a bunch of claws on this side, bunch of claws, oh, there's one back there, all right here. I like to go through, stand in the middle of them, and then just whirlwind, see if we can't get a couple of them out of the way really quick. One more time. It's kind of like going fishing. They're not terribly hard to kill. If you can get to Plane of Elderkind, chances are you probably could kill them. If you really needed to go through and kill them one at a time, I suppose you could. But if you're going through and you're trying to get a Celestial Helmet, keep in mind that you have to be level 20 just to be able to get into the area to talk to the smithy. So there's really no reason you shouldn't be able to take all the claws at one time. And like you just saw, Melamine here is not dev immune. Since she's not dev immune, easy peasy Japanesey. Now this is a helmet, I actually already have one, but you'll wind up needing multiple for some of the different things that you'll do. So going through and having more than one is a good thing. This is what you get. You get level 6 immunity spells, crits, knockdown, ability, level drain, etc. What the celestial items do is really go through and combine a bunch of other different items into one uber item, which is kind of what you would always want and what you would expect in Endgear. But rather than going through doing one single quest or quest line in order to get these items, and you can see down here at the bottom, Bloody Stings, experience points lost 10, which isn't huge. But rather than go through and do some large quest line and have a bunch of helmets or other pieces of armor that were useful at some point but now are no longer useful. Instead, it was decided to go through and change it into a fetch quest, which is good. And then it just takes all the items at the end, deletes them, and off you pop. I went through ahead of time and actually prepped for this next one so that we would not have to go through and depend on drops. In the last video, we went through and got a... only had to go through and kill one of the Burning Sands folks to get the cloak. In this instance, I didn't want to go through and mess with it. Once you're level 20 or 21, I want to say it should be 20, it may be 21, you go talk to the man that I just spoke to on the left side if you're coming out of Portal Plane, and he will go through and he will let you get you into Underworld. Now, I happen to have a couple of potions of invis, which I actually have quick slotted, but I wasn't paying attention. You can actually go through an invis past the demons here at the beginning, and this is one of the few places where it is not a matter of you shouldn't be here if you can't get here, or if you can't fight everything up until this point, there's no reason coming through. You can actually go through and rather effectively take care of the little buggers that come in, spawn in here. Okay, that's what I was afraid of, and that's why I went through and did the prep work. In here, you will see a bunch of different types of demons. See if I can grab the name off of the loot here. It was probably Mr. Clean, wasn't it? Yep. I want to say it's See Something Demon. Either. So in this area and the area above, you'll go through, fight them, and they have like a 1 in 20, maybe, chance of going through and dropping a Treacherous Helm, which is this item. They go through and they attack. They have decently high AB. It is not unbearable. You will also go through and get stuck on quite a few items here. It's not unbearable. They don't hit for tons and tons, but there are quite a few of them. One of the things that you can do is go through, and if you have your Waistband of the Green, which is, again, free, you get it as one of your quest items, you can go through and use the Elemental Shield to let them just do reflective damage to themselves. Another option is if you have a piece of brass, you get 5 Elemental Shield uses per day. This is more the route that I would suggest, just because there are a lot of them, and you're going to be down here until you get that drop, so it could be a while. Keep in mind that if you go this route, you either need to have a very substantial amount of regen, or potions of healing, or an item that has infinite healing, like, I don't know, maybe one of those. But this is where you go through, this is where you come to get the Treacherous Helm, and if you are a cleric, as you can see, it's actually really nice. It does go through and help quite a bit, especially when you're just starting out. Again, it has lots of immunities. Those immunities all kind of get combined into the different, into the Celestial Helm. Again, we're going to go through this, go straight to the portal plane. And we're going to go through and talk about, let's see if Gorg is here. We saw him in the last video when we went to go through and get the cloak, Gift of the Shadow. So Gorg goes through and he's interesting. He spawns in several different locations throughout the server. One of them is in Beryl Grotto, where we saw him in the last video. Right here in Seven Doors North, which is usually where most people will encounter him as like a level 1, trying to go through and get the Windwalker boots. He can also show up here in Poe. He can show up right here in this gate area. He can show up, if you go through the middle one, up here in the top, and he can show up down here in the bottom one. This bottom one is very rare. I almost never see him there. And then the last... he can also go through and spawn in the center bit of Corridor of Fire. We'll go there in just a second. So I can... Okay, yep. I'll need to go back through and clean that up in a minute. To get to Corridor of Fire, there is a very long way that you can go, or you can choose to forfeit 1,000 gold for a one-time, single-time payment and use Marvel's Scholar. Previously I went through and showed how to use Marvel's Scholar to get to the Still for the Well-Keeper's Cloak, and in this instance we're going to use him twice. Once to go to the Corridor of Fire, which is right here, Workbench. The Workbench is actually not... go through, clean this up. This Workbench is actually not a... the Corridor of Fire itself, so Gorg should never be in here unless someone's dragged him in here. But if you go through and you have items that are charges, so for example, if you have a Res Rod, which I don't actually have one on me, if you have a Res Rod or any other item that goes through and has charges use instead of uses per day, you can come here, charge it back up with 3, I believe it's Fire Opals. You get the Fire Opals by killing the Fire Friends here. And conveniently, this is still here. These are what you need. You need 3 of them at a time, and then you can recharge whatever. You will get them in larger stacks. If you put in a stack of 12 or a stack of 10 or 4, it'll eat the entire stack at once. Fair warning. But this is one of the other areas that he will spawn in. Hey, come on now. I just need you to take a nice little dirt nap. You too. Wonderful. But he'll go through and he usually spawns right about here. So if you get to this last one, you know that he's actually not going to be here and you don't need to worry about it. But this is one of the other areas that he can appear in. And the last one is where you go through to get Marvel. I'm not going to bother running that one because it is an absolute pain as a new player to go through and get all the way into the point where you should be able to kill Marvel, only to find that Marvel's not there and there's nothing you can do about that. You have to wait for the corpse to respawn and then get his loot again, and it sucks. So in deference to newer players who may be coming in, usually if you're going to go through and check that one, if you haven't seen him in any of the other locations, go check it, but make sure there's no one on at the time. Since I don't really need to go through and check it right now because I have all 10 heads, I'm going to just forego it. Once you have 10 heads, and that's what it takes to get the Gorg helmet, or Gorg skull, which is what you see right here. Every time he dies, he'll drop this, a greater ring of regen, and he will drop a wee bit of money, and I forgot where I put it, but he drops his Gorg's rantings as well. You need to come find Cormel, the city guard. He's always patrolling right here, as you just saw. He only walks back and forth right here. Go through, talk with him, and you need to turn in 10. He gives you 10,000 gold each, so decent if you're a new player. I highly recommend that you keep all of the heads until you can turn in all 10 at the same time. Biggest reason is it's kind of annoying to go through and have 2 or 3 heads already turned in, and here you go. Have 2 or 3 heads turned in and then not know it. Where you have like 2 on one character, 3 on another, 4 on a 5th one, you know, when you have them spread out across your characters like that, you could have had 2 or 3 Gorg skulls, but because they're spread out, you're just out of luck. So I highly recommend keeping all 10 together in a bag or on just a random character that you make as a mule until you get to the point where you can turn them all in. And as you can see here, when you turn in the 10th one, he'll go through and he gives you this nice helmet, which is 100% a helmet and has definitely not just someone's head. But it is a fairly good helmet. About the only thing that's really missing off of this helmet is about the only thing that this helmet has for it, which is pretty much fear protection. So at this point, we go through and we have 3 out of the 4 helmets that we need, and the last thing we need is the golden helmet. While this one is a bit of a pain to get, it really isn't that difficult. It's just a lot of running around and a lot of waiting. Gorg will respawn every 15 or so minutes, and he will respawn randomly in one of those locations that we went over. It's really just a matter of waiting, and honestly, this is one of those items that I would not try to push. You can go through, and you can push for him, but it's far simpler to just grab it as you go. The other thing that you can do is there's this nice little secret area off in a wee corner called the back alley, and if you go through you can find Hillary, and you can pay her, and then you can go through and find where Gorg is. So she'll tell you where he is. You can go directly to that place and then sneak up on him, drop him, take his head, turn it into Cormel, and you're off. She can also, as you can see there, tell you exactly how many Gorg heads you've already turned in on that character. So there's that. Again, good helmet, definitely worth getting. While you're waiting to get your Celestial Helm out of the tree here, this is definitely the one that I would recommend that you have. It's all around solid, and there's a reason you have to grind as hard as you do for it. It's not a hard grind, it isn't tons and tons of time, but it is a grind. Now, it is nothing compared to the next one. So the next one, you have to go through and obtain golden nuggets. In order to get a golden nugget, you have to go through and get either go through, kill the clone, arms clone, which requires a lot of things, or you have to go through and run DDS and then pick one of the golden egg drops. Both of those are runs that I will cover in a different video later on, because they are a lot more extensive. They require a lot more things. For example, when you go through to run Arum, run the clone, you have to have a whole set of Plane of Elderkine metal items all built up. Um, it's a lot of different things. I'm going to cover that and refer that to the video in Poe, for the Poe metals. Just for now, be aware that those are really the places to go through and get it. You can also go through and get them from the library down in Deep Thought. Once you have obtained your eggs, you need 9 of them total, and I'll show you how to combine them into a golden rune. So you need your 9 golden nuggets. I call them eggs or nuggets. They look like eggs. Come on. Unique power self only uses per day. That's what I was trying to say. The books that you get down in library, the air and light, I believe, are the 2 that you can get a golden egg, or golden nugget, excuse me, to drop in. They are not guaranteed spawns, and yeah, but it's a way of doing it without having to go through and grind all of your Poe items. So once you get it, you come back here to Marvel's Scholar, tell him to send you to the forge, and then tell Big Lenny hi. Hi, Bill. Hi, bye, take a dirt nap. I got this. So once you go through, you come down to the forge, you put 3 items in. I was going to go through and try to show you with a couple of broken swords that there are actually a lot of items you can go through and combine. Let me show you this first. We have a pile of lodestones here. Oh, we are only going to go through and take 3. Do we have 9? I actually think we have 9. Perfect. Okay. This is a really good demonstration of the forge. So you go through, you put 3 items in that can be combined. Fair warning, not every item can be combined. And then you pull the lever. What I usually like to do is go through, open it up, pull the lever, so that it'll get me in position to be able to touch it, because sometimes it moves. And then you should be able to go through back and forth between lever and forge. And then we'll put the last 3 in, pull it again. You get these lodestones. A lot of people don't realize that, you know what, you can actually just keep going. And going and going and going. You can actually go through until you get... Nope, not in this character. Anyway, you can combine the lodestones quite a bit, but we're not here for lodestones, we're here for golden nuggets. We need a golden rune so we can get to the golden plane. Pull the lever, it makes a pound of gold. You need 3 pounds of gold, which is a total of 9 golden nuggets, in order to make the item that we need, which is a golden rune. Go through, make your golden rune. Once you have the golden rune, I always step away from the forge because weird things happen. You get a unique power use self only, and you come here to the golden plane. Now what you need is the golden helmet. This item. Out of all of the helmets that you can get, this is by far and large the best one. You get your immunity to death magic, you get your immunity to fear, you get your immunity to level drain, which are the big ones. Everything else here is also very nice. Immunity to level 6 and lower spells is never a bad thing. But I digress. That's the one that you need. You get it by coming over here, talking to the speaker, and then you say that you need the golden helmet. You go through, check, see, you get the golden helmet, and everything is hunky-dory. Beautiful. Right, now you go back, go to the portal, use your portal rune, go back to portal plane, and then you're going to go back to temple. Now that you have all 4 items, which again is not this straightforward, not quite as simple as I'm making you seem. I did a lot of prep work to make sure that I had all the items necessary, but it isn't unreasonable to try to go through and get that inside of 1 week if you're playing constantly. Go through, talk to him, and you tell him that you want a Celestial Helm. Tell him that you have all 4 items, and then you get the oh-so special Celestial Helmet. Celestial Helmet again has tells you right in the description what it is that you need. It gives you a nice bit of resistances. Level 6 crits, death magic, disease, fear, knockdown, level ability drain, which honestly is super annoying. Mind affecting spells, sneak attack, poison, it just, and true seeing. It's an all around good helmet, and most level 40s will be running around using this helmet. There are a few others that you might use, but honestly, once you get your Celestial gear, you'll probably use that for the remainder of your time on that character. So without further ado, that's it for this one. Again, we're at the point where we have a Celestial helmet, we're at our point where we have our Celestial cloak, and I believe the next up will be a Celestial robes. So with that, I'll go ahead and end this one. Have a good time, and again, I hope that when you loot, the odds are in your favor.